we are at a point in the arc of the history of our democracy, maybe on the way down, where we've got to come to recognize a fundamental flaw has evolved or emerged inside of our democracy. I think I talked about it during the campaign in a too abstract way. I want to be very particular. That flaw is an institution called Congress. Congress is a failed institution, And it's crippled and corrupted by the corrupting influence of money, by the way in which we've denied equal representation through gerrymandering, through all the mechanisms by which this institution no longer represents the American people. And the reality, of course, of our government is we need both Congress and the president to be able to work together to get anything done. So what I feared as I saw this election emerging is that we were going to have a typical presidential race.
So around when was this?
I think, this is like June and July.
June and July, this summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
As we saw this emerging presidential race, it was going to be like every presidential race. These candidates were going to talk about all the amazing things they were going to do, promise the moon. But the rocket can't get off the ground. And the rocket can't get off the ground because the essential institution to do any of the things that they're talking about doing, whether it's dealing with climate change or dealing with minimum wage or dealing with health care or dealing with student debt, any of these issues requires Congress. And so if we don't have a campaign focused on this corrupting influence that makes it impossible to get anything done, we weren't going to be able to bring about the mandate, the political mandate, to actually achieve that kind of change. So the conversations that you and I had was A, recognizing that, B, then saying, well, what if we tried to hack this process by launching a race for president which at least had the chance to be able to get into the debates and present this case in a way that might have the opportunity to shift the direction of at least the democratic debate to build the recognition of this essential reform that was needed. And so the calculation was, what would it take to get to those debates? And that was the upside. And then the downside, of course, was everybody thinking I was insane. The incredible personal cost and cost to my family and all of that. I mean, all the downside is there. But the one you and I had the longest conversation was everybody's going to think you're insane. So there's this moment, I don't know if you remember this distinctly, you left my office. 2 minutes later, you came back and you sat down and you said, okay, I've decided you're going to run. And I said, well, what do you mean? How have you decided that? You said, well, because you're going to recognize that if the only thing holding you back is the belief that people are going to think you're silly or crazy, that's never going to be enough reason for you not to take this risk. And it was true. At that moment, I kind of recognized I had no good reason not to take this risk if that was the only potential downside. So that's basically when we decided I would do it.